This video will show how to use Genepix Pro to analyze a microarray that has already been scanned. Now if I zoom in on this microarray, you'll see that we have a red channel, a green channel, and a ratio picture. So it's a two-color microarray. And notice that some of these spots are bigger, some of these spots are smaller, and some are very, very bright, and some are very, very dim. So it's a pretty realistic microarray for what most people have to deal with. Now, our job then is to take what we call a gal file or a grid file. And this grid file has inside of it the names and locations of every single spot on the array. So you can see we have 16 little subsections to this grid file. And these subsections mirror the subsections in the microarrays that we see. So in Genepix terminology, each of these subsections is called a block. And if I zoom in on an individual block, you can see each block is comprised of a series of spots, and each spot has a corresponding realistic spot on the microarray. Now what's nice about these gal files or these grid files is each spot has a name and identification number associated with it. So if I look in the lower left hand corner here down in the feature viewer, remember these spots are called features, you can see when I put my cursor over an individual spot or feature, you can see the name and identification number for each spot. So that's very, very important because it doesn't help you to know if spot number 1 has a fluorescence intensity of 40,000 if you don't know what spot number 1 actually is. So our job then is to take this grid file and align it over our actual microarray. Now we have a button associated with this. It's this yellow bullseye button over here called the Align Blocks button. And this button is organized from the top to the bottom from most automated, where Genepix does everything, to a little bit of hands-on where the user puts some work in and Genepix puts some work in, to most hands-on where the user puts a lot more work in. Excuse that pause. So what we're going to do is use the top option here, Find Array, Find All Blocks, Align Features. And what that's saying is a 3-step process where look at the entire glass slide, see where my array is, and move my grid file down in that location. Okay. Second spot, Find All Blocks. That means for each individual subsection, do what you need to do, rotate it, enlarge it, skew it, plop it down. Do that for every single block. And then align the features. That means for every single spot, make some bigger, make some smaller, make some minute changes in its location, and do that for all the spots. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select Find Array, Find All Blocks, Align Features. So I select that option, and Genepix automatically, you'll see, brings the grid file down in that location. Now if I zoom in on one of those blocks, you can see another nice feature about our software is it actually fits the morphology of these spots as well. Now you can quickly go through and zoom in at each of the different blocks just to make sure everything looks good. Once you're happy with that, you can analyze them, or if you need to make any small changes, I can select the individual spot. You can see I can see the surrounding background for every single spot, and then I can analyze the data. So this will show you that for every single spot we will get one row of data. So every row here is one spot on the microarray, and for every single spot we will give you about 45 columns of information regarding that spot. So pretty much any type of data you're looking for on your array is going to be here. Also, we have a scatter plot that allows you to graph up this data. So here I'm looking at the red channel intensity for every single spot versus the green channel intensity for every single spot. So as a ratiometric array, two-color array, I'm looking for spots with a high ratio or a low ratio. So here's a spot with a very high red channel intensity and a very low green channel intensity. So I can select that spot, and over on the left-hand side here, you'll see that the spot is very, very red and very low in the green. Likewise, I can look at these spots up here. I can flag them, say these are good spots. I can also go ahead and collect a group of these spots together, go to the Results tab, and say Group Rows, and that'll bring all these spots up to the top. So I can easily export this data if I need to of just these spots that I'm interested in. And I can also do flag related information. So one of the things that's very, very important, especially when you're dealing with lots of data, 1,000 spots, 500,000 spots, even up to 1 million spots per glass slide, is you want to be able to quickly identify those spots that you do not trust their information from. You want to find those bad spots. So we have a button here called Flag Features. This Flag Features button is really nice. I've set up a query tool where I'm looking for spots that have a low levels of roundness, so spots that look very strange, have a weird morphology, or spots that have a low level of intensity. So if I add up the red channel intensity plus the green channel intensity, these spots have an intensity less than 500. So very dim, very unreliable spots. So spots that have a weird morphology and spots that have a low level of brightness. And what do you want to do with those spots? I'm going to flag those spots as being bad. I can hit evaluate and it will tell me that there's about 4 spots out of 1,000 on the array that look a little weird, look a little bad. So I'm going to hit OK. And now those spots are going to be flagged bad for me. I can group those rows up to the top just like before. I can go to the scatter plot and you'll see on the right hand side here, spots that are bad are red, and you can see where those red spots are down here. In fact, I can even get rid of them by going to the display button and say, you know what, don't show me the bad spots anymore. I don't want to see them. And now they're gone. From here we can then go and save the results and move on to the next microarray.